Good afternoon on this Monday, September 26th. This is your tropical weather update from 28storms.com and the Hurricane Tracker app. The National Hurricane Center is now giving the remnants of Tropical Storm Ophelia a 30% chance of regenerating into a tropical depression or tropical storm, and it does appear that those chances are on the increase today, and it looks like it will be moving in a general northerly direction. So we will still keep an eye out on this system, as it could still pass somewhat close to Bermuda, and we still have Tropical Storm Philippe in the eastern Atlantic, but that is going to pose no threat to land. Turning to the basin-wide satellite image, we see that much of the Gulf of Mexico and Caribbean are quiet, although we do have one exception here in the southwest Caribbean. We have a lot of convective activity, but as we turn to the water vapor, you will notice that's associated with an upper level low, so that's not fully tropical in nature. We still have a lot of disorganized shower and thunderstorm activity extending from North Carolina southward into the Florida Peninsula, but this is also associated with a mid to upper level trough, so no development is expected there. Now, over here to the east of Puerto Rico, we still are dealing with the remnants of Tropical Storm Ophelia. The remnants are not overly organized at this current time. We're still dealing with a lot of wind shear, and this is just a quick look at the infrared, but as we turn to the latest water vapor, you notice that we still have a lot of westerly wind shear in place thanks to this mid to upper level tropospheric trough over much of the central and western Atlantic. There's that upper level low just to the east of Honduras that's sparking off some of the convection to the south of Jamaica. So overall, this is a very messy pattern for any organized tropical cyclone activity. We see that Tropical Storm Philippe is also struggling due to a lot of westerly shear, and that wind shear is actually a little bit higher as we gain latitude, so it's very unlikely that Philippe will make it to hurricane status, and in fact the Hurricane Center has lowered their intensity expectations. Turning to the East Pac, we have Hurricane Hilary. It is still a Category 3 hurricane with maximum sustained winds of 125 miles per hour. The official forecast maintains this as a major hurricane for at least the next 24 hours, but as we go into Wednesday and Thursday, the storm could begin to encounter some more westerly shear and dry air, and then into the 4 to 5 day range. If this continues on a northerly track parallel to the Baja Peninsula, then it's going to encounter much cooler water temperatures, and therefore it should eventually dissipate below tropical depression status. Two of the BAM models are taking this more in a northeast direction into Mexico and over much warmer water temperatures than what we have over here to the west of the Baja Peninsula, but those models appear to be off track, and the model consensus is in agreement with the idea that this is going to remain to the north and eventually dissipate. This is a view of the Eastern Pacific visible satellite, and we see that Hurricane Hilary is still very well defined out here to the southwest of the Baja Peninsula, but if we look a little bit more toward the north, we see a very large deck of stratiform clouds, and this is an indication that the atmosphere is a lot more stable here, and that's in part due to the sea surface temperatures. If we go ahead and overlay those on top of the satellite, we see that they are well below 26 degrees Celsius once you get up into this region, and that is overall where we do expect this hurricane to eventually pass. On the water vapor, we do see a series of troughs beginning to pass more toward the south, and those are going to be the main reason why this hurricane is eventually going to make that turn toward the north, but the models are also showing a very large subtropical ridge developing over the southwest United States, and that should prevent this storm from turning straight into Mexico. Switching over to the latest model forecast, beginning with the 12Z run of the CMC model, notice where it develops the remnants of Tropical Storm Ophelia. It's a little bit more toward the west, and so thus by the medium range it actually shows a track just to the west of Bermuda, but this track seems pretty unlikely, as on the satellite it looks as if the center is actually developing much more to the east of where the model currently has it. So this particular model forecast is being discounted at this current time. And also, if you notice in the eastern Pacific, it takes Hurricane Hilary well into those cooler water temperatures, and that does appear to be on target. And as we go into day 6, notice that the Gulf and Caribbean are clear. It actually keeps Tropical Storm Philippe over the central Atlantic. It looks like that first trough may miss the storm, or at least not fully grasp it, and so therefore it's going to be left behind, but it should still eventually turn more toward the northeast. The 12Z run of the GFS model appears to be way too bullish on the idea that Hurricane Hilary is going to quickly recurve, thus maintaining it over warmer water temperatures as it begins to impact the lower half of the Baja Peninsula. That is the only model showing this, so we're not overly concerned about this track, and we are discounting the GFS model forecast for Hurricane Hilary. But as we look off into the Atlantic, it does appear to have the right idea on the remnants of Tropical Storm Ophelia. It has it redeveloping in roughly the same position that we see on satellite imagery, and so therefore we do believe that it will pass to the east of Bermuda, and this has support from all of the other remaining models with the exception of the Canadian CMC. Also notice that much of the Gulf and Caribbean are forecast to be clear of any tropical cyclone activity over the next 7 days, and much like the CMC model, it does maintain Tropical Storm Philippe over the central Atlantic for an extended period of time, but it should still recurve. And finally, this is a look at the 12Z ECMWF forecast as we go into the next 24 and 72 hours. Notice that it takes Hurricane Hilary well to the north, much like the CMC model is taking this into much cooler water temperatures, and then eventually by day 4 it's showing dissipation. And look at this, Tropical Storm Ophelia once again making that comeback, and notice how much more east it is compared to that foolish CMC model run. So it should redevelop, and it should pass to the east of Bermuda. I am not expecting any significant weather over the island, and as we go into the extended range into days 5 through 7, much of the Atlantic and eastern Pacific should be void of anything significant. So we are in very good shape tropics-wise this afternoon. Hopefully this continues throughout the remainder of the hurricane season, although I really think that we're probably going to get a couple more storms, especially as we go into mid-October. So as always, stay tuned here at 28storms.com. Don't forget to check out hurricanes.gov for the most official information from the National Hurricane Center. And you can continue to find all of this information. It's also available at 28storms.com and the Hurricane Tracker app, so don't forget to check out either one of those.